If you haven't watched my reactions to the first 3 John Wicks, they're up on my channel. Go watch them now. We're watching the video from the channel The Deep Dive. This is by Erik Voss from New Rockstars. If you want to know like everything about something, go there. This is called John Wick 2014 Rules Explained and Stunts Breakdown.
Look, John Wick is shooting all these guys using proper gun technique, and he always reloads that Heckler & Koch P30L every 15 shots. Look, he has to reload right now, right in the middle of getting that guy.
I noticed that. So many times he reloads. That's freaking awesome.
I don't let her watch that part, but she knows what happens at the beginning of the movie. I'm Erik Voss.
Yeah, my dog wasn't watching the screen, but he was in the room when it happened.
John Wick, the first film of the John Wick series, starring Keanu Reeves, directed by Chad Stahelski, written by Derek Kolstad, and stunts by Stahelski and David Leitch. With John Wick Chapter 4 coming, let's analyze the details that make the first...
I've only seen John Wick 1 and I'm already excited for the 4th one. Like, I can't wait to get through these, but I don't want them to go too quick.
Its playful world building is really made possible by the first film's strict adherence to a set of rules. It's a game that pays the price for its heightened reality by minding its manners with details few other franchises care about. So here they are, the John Wick rules. Number 1, only kill people who are also part of the game in approved zones. So no collateral damage to innocents or to NPCs. Number 2, respect for firearms must be observed. Number 3, all legal transactions must be made with approved currency, in this case, gold coins. And
I literally forgot I could pause and rewind. All right, you may only kill people who are also part of the game in approved zones. Jesus, they call this a game? Okay, so they're not trying to hit bystanders and there are only certain areas.
NPCs. Number 2, respect for firearms must be observed. Number 3,
what does that mean? Respect for firearms must be observed. Maybe he'll go through it later.
All legal transactions must be made with approved currency, in this case, gold coins. And number 4, don't make a mess, which is kind of the catch-all rule of don't be a dick. These are the rules followed by assassins in the world of the film and by the filmmakers in a certain respect. And these rules allow everyone involved to go to some wild places. So let's go back through this film scene by scene to see how all these rules apply. And the best way to support the Deep Dive channel is to grab some Deep Dive merch from nerdriot.shop, like one of these super warm, cozy Fetterman hoodies. The film opens in the final scene as John crashes Vigo's SUV and bleeds from the fight. The car radio announcer reports how the storm has passed 7 inches of rain the night before, stranding New Yorkers without power. This is some thematic table setting for the storm we're about to flash back into, and exposition that establishes the first rule: non-killers must be sidelined. Everyday New Yorkers in this film are just not part of this underworld war. John watches video of...
So that's why the police don't care?
What are you doing, John?
What are you doing, John? In Greek mythology and in history, Helen of Troy was the woman so beautiful men went to war over her. But in this film, those were wars of the past. John already won those wars and that's how he's able to get out. So we flash back to a few days earlier. John going through his 6 a.m. morning routine, but something's missing. He pats his bedside as he wakes up. Helen isn't there. Her daisy decorated mug is beside his by the coffee, while her hospital bedside has an orchid hanging over her. Lower by her pillows are daisies, and of course, daisies on her bracelet and a daisy on the card she later sends John. When her casket is lowered,
Daisy
John
on the puppy's necklace for its name.
Marcus, it switches to a larger 16-spoked umbrella. This isn't just a random dumb mistake. There's a practical reason behind it. When Keanu Reeves is shot from below, he can have a smaller umbrella because you just need to see him from below and he can hold it over his head without getting rain on him. But when he's shot from the side in the scene with Willem Dafoe, the actor has to tilt the umbrella back so that you can see his face, and thus they need a wider canopy so that they can get clean audio without the actor and the microphone getting all wet. John says he keeps
I know this is why we're here to find out all these background things, but what a thing to notice. The umbrella is a different one. I wanted to do a fundraiser video, but I found out you can't unless you have 10,000 subscribers. I think that's kind of bullshit. I'm like less than 1,000 subscribers away from that. So if you like my videos, hit the subscribe button so I can do a fundraiser.
Asking, why her?
There's no rhyme or reason to this life.
Marcus implies that the outside world, real life, really has no rules to it. Fate is cruel that way. Only in the underworld are there rules that you can live according to. And one could argue those rules are the reason the underworld exists, so that these violent players can live in a world that makes some sense. John accidentally keeps the delivery person's pen, showing how he instinctively keeps every writing implement in case he needs a weapon. Vigo later states,
oh yeah, because you killed those 3 people with a pencil.
That he once saw John kill a man with a pencil.
Yeah. Is that really why he kept that pen, or like he instinctively held onto the pen?
Guys with pencils is something John does in Chapter 2. Notice also that John wears his watch
I haven't seen Chapter 2.
whereas other times, like when he drives, he wears it facing out. This is because when John is in fighting mode, he faces it inwards, similarly to how soldiers will wear their watches so that they can see the time while they're holding a rifle, and to keep the watch face from accidentally reflecting light. Helen has written that John needs something to love.
I love how much thought really went into this movie, this hour-and-a-half movie. I don't even know if when they made the first one, they intended to make more. Like, I'm just so impressed by how much world building, how much little background things, like how much they cared about this movie. And it shows. This is why so many people like it.
The car doesn't count. The dog, Daisy, and his car, two things Yosef will later take from him. Keanu's emotion is raw here. In 2001, his longtime girlfriend Jennifer Syme died in a car accident after giving birth to their stillborn child the year before.
Yeah, he's had a rough life.
Years later, in 2019, Keanu was asked about life after death.
What do you think happens when we die, Keanu Reeves?
I know that the ones who love us will miss us.
The color tones of this movie switch from warm and golden to show John's happy home life with Daisy and his past with Helen, to cold and blue for his bitter, vengeful life, to stark red and green for the stop-and-go regulated gameplay of the underworld. Then back to warm and golden in the final shot. John doesn't have kibble for Daisy, and when they go to get some at the gas station, you can see not only dog toys,
there are so many
but a ton of
toys.
dog toys too. Now, this is in New Jersey, and in Jersey, gas stations are supposed to be full service. You don't pump your own gas. But again, we do not have to look at
Oh my gosh, for reals.
This is a gaff, because John and Yosef and
New Jersey is hella close to New York. Yeah, what if they just dipped into New York a bit? Because wasn't his plate New York plates?
his guys aren't part of the normal world. They are creatures of the underworld who play by different rules, and gas station attendants don't with them, or even tell
Even the gas station attendants know their vehicles?
Yosef not to smoke at a gas station. Yosef, Alfie Allen,
Oh my
the
god, I didn't even notice he was smoking at the gas station. What the fuck?
Greyjoy from Game of Thrones, mistakes John's 1969 Mustang GT for a 1970 429 Boss Mustang.
How much?
She's not for sale.
Yeah, Yosef assumes everything has a price and tries to force John.
Yeah, because he's a rich little puke.
Remember, even financial transactions are regulated among these players. Yosef's bodyguard, Victor, pulls Yosef away and tells John to have a good day. Victor's actually played by Toby Leonard Moore, Kingpin's assistant Wesley from Daredevil, and Victor knows who John is and is more cautious about threatening him at first.
So Victor knew who John was, but he didn't tell Lucif. What the hell is his name again? I keep just wanting to call him a loser. Isn't it something like Lucif? Why didn't he tell him John Wick is a devil? We probably shouldn't fuck with him.
John pulls up to the airport for some rage.
You sound like a bad friend.
Guard at the gate.
If you want to watch this and other shows and movies unedited, full length, they're over on my Patreon. You can go watch them. Go check it out. Want to pick a movie for me to watch? You can do that, and I'll throw it up my Patreon. Want to vote and poll to decide what I watch next and watch some requested movies with me? You can do that. Yes.
Is reading this book, Shibumi. It's a 1979 book in which the protagonist uses the art of the naked kill, in which you use everyday items to kill people. Everyday items like a beansel. I do appreciate that it's actually Keanu behind the wheel for a lot of this. Keanu Reeves is a disciplined student of proper firearm usage, martial arts, and a variety of stunts, and it shows. Later in the club balcony,
you definitely can tell the action in this whole entire sequence. Oh my gosh, the amount of times I've watched the club fight, way too much. Just going through that whole thing, you can tell it is him throughout the whole thing. There's not a stunt guy. Maybe there is for certain portions, but usually when you watch things, you can kind of tell, like, they make sure they don't show the face or it's a little blurred or something. But in this, everything just flows so perfectly. And then on top of that, like, it's not like Keanu Reeves is just fighting and not caring about what he's doing. He has to act the whole entire time as John Wick. So he has like this dead straight face. He's so concentrated on what his goal is. Oh my gosh, I love this fight scene so much. And I'm not like a fight scene person.
Keanu was sick and throwing up between takes, but he kept powering through. This
oh my gosh,
is a family reunion of Reeves' co-stars and his stunt team from the Matrix films. Chad Stahelski was a stunt double in the Matrix trilogy. David Leitch works stunt.
That's really cool. I love when people get to work together again. I feel like when cast and crew, when they like the movie that they're doing, when they like the people that they're with, it translates into the movie. The movie just feels better. It feels more real.
On the sequels, Daniel Bernhardt, who plays the security captain Kirill in this movie, was one of the stunt actors and the agent that Morpheus fights atop the truck in the Matrix Reloaded. The keymaker for Matrix Reloaded, Randall Duck Kim, plays the Continental Doctor in this movie. All of these guys reunited on a mission for this film. This history between Reeves and his crew and their commitment to the taken for granted art of authentic film stunt work exposes John Wick not merely as a story of an ex-assassin who avenges his dog, but a root myth of a decent man restoring honor to the game. The rules matter. Yosef triggers this restoration by stealing stealing John's car and killing Daisy. And this is gonna break your heart, trigger warning, but when Daisy gets hurt, she is several feet away from John. But when John wakes up from the attack,
yeah, this is awful.
Blood, showing that Daisy limped over to him to cuddle with him in her dying moments. Don't tell Darla about that detail. And after burying Daisy in the backyard, he places her.
I thought they put her there. I did. Oh, that makes it so much worse.
Left a baseball bat, the one that they used to kill Daisy, in the windshield of the SUV, the car that Helen drove. John Leguizamo Aurelio punches you.
I didn't think they used the baseball bat to kill Daisy. I thought, I mean, who might have questioned Erik Voss? He probably watched that scene like 100 times, where I only watched it twice and I tried not to take it in. I thought that he stomped on her, and I thought they used the baseball bat on John.
Joseph and refuses to give him a new VIN and papers for the car because he knows that Joseph violated the rules. He attacks someone who wasn't in the game in that moment and stole from him out of bounds. And that person,
because John was out. He said he was out. I didn't even think about that they attacked someone not in the game. Okay, my understanding is they were all just assassins that, like, I didn't think so. What? I'm even more confused. So this is a game? They go to sign up to play a game to occasionally kill each other? I thought that they were just assassins and people were like, I'm gonna buy you to kill, I don't know, businessman Henry because he stole 45 billion from me. I thought you could just hire him to kill people. I didn't think that businessman Henry also had to be in the game too for me to send someone after him.
Just happened to be the Babayega. And I love it. From the moment Aurelio tells Vigo that Joseph crossed John Wick, Vigo changes in this movie. He is unable to enjoy his business victories because he knows his world will soon inevitably come crashing down.
Because you stole John Wick's car, sir, and killed his dog.
Oh my gosh, that was so, my fucking life is ended, which it didn't have to. I mean, you could have just completely abandoned your POS son, but I get why you didn't, because he is your son, even though you kind of did sell him out. But then you avenged him, and then that, I don't even know his game. He's like, I'm gonna sell my son out. Then when you kill my son, I'm gonna avenge him by killing the dude that was supposed to kill you. Then you're knowing damn well that you're gonna come kill me. Why didn't from the start you either not sell out your son or not try to avenge him? I mean, he's probably not the smartest man.
I love it. Oh, Joseph response later is the same as his father's.
John wasn't exactly the boogeyman. He was the one you sent to kill the boogeyman.
Such a good line.
Vigo pours his son a drink and cheers him, but he doesn't himself drink his vodka, showing that he doesn't actually support the reason they're toasting. As Vigo tells John's ghost story, we see John clearing the concrete rubble from his basement floor, literally
breaking back into his old life.
And the film unveils the gold coins, both in John's case and in Vigo's safe. The fact that John buried these shows that they have no monetary exchange equivalent. They are only useful for goods and services in the assassin underworld.
Or it could show that he buried them, but in a place where he knew he could get to them if he ever needed it. So if he sold them off, he'd have to go back there and get them. But now he had them if he ever needed them.
A world that John never intended to go back to, like tokens to a long abandoned arcade. Because let's not forget, this is all a game.
See, you call them tokens. I call them tokens in my video, and some kids are like, they're not tokens.
Which is Latin for fortune favors the bold, or favors the brave, or the strong. It means kind of all the same thing. And as Vigo sings his Babayega lullaby, we see his men surrounding John's house. But in reality, Vigo is singing a lullaby for them. They are the ones under threat, for John is actually coming for them. The fight in John's home is awesome, and it takes place in 3 acts, each act punctuated by John having to reload. It's not the shooting that matters in this.
I love the amount of times he reloads. It makes it so much more realistic. It's little details like that that is like, you guys paid so much attention to that. In a lot of other movies, they just don't. They just don't.
Movie, it is the reloading. Act 1 starts on the 2nd floor and ends on the ground level, where John promptly reloads, because John never fires more shots than his firearm would have the capacity for. Rule number 2, proper respect for firearms is always shown in this movie. It's also evident in the way John shoots his enemies. He almost always shoots once or twice to the chest and then again to the head. Like, notice after he shoots the guy who falls down the stairs.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to waste. He's very methodical about everything he does.
He follows through with another shot to the head. So Act 2 of this fight goes down in the living room, and when a wall separates,
and he doesn't let people suffer. It's not like he's gonna do what is his name, Vigo? What he tried to do, where he just stabbed him in the leg and he was gonna let him bleed out. John's like, I'm here to kill you. I'm gonna finish this.
John from another guy. John ducks low and shoots upward at where the guy's head would be. The guy shoots directly they have pressed where he thinks John's head would be, and because John was ducking, he misses. So John anticipated the headshot, and then when John throws this guy through the glass door, he reloads again and finishes him because he fired off 9 shots between the reloads, and the reloading is always observed. That brings us to Act 3 of this fight in the kitchen. Here, John's gun gets knocked out early on, so he has to show his hand-to-hand combat skills. It ends with a solid 45-second take in the hallway where John grapples with the knife and punches the butt of the handle into the guy's chest again.
This was crazy.
Until he dies. And then one of my favorite moments in this movie, Thomas Sadoski plays Jimmy the cop in one of the most important and hilarious moments from this film.
You working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.
Night, John. I love
One of the
this.
hardest things to write in high concept films or small setting but high stakes conflicts is how do you keep the police and the press out of the story? Because whenever this outside world gets in the picture, it's just kind of logically forced to become a standard procedural. But this moment right here proves that the authorities have a kind of gentleman's agreement with the assassin underworld. They know it exists, but they do not interfere so long as the players follow the rules and don't make a mess. So to keep from making a mess, John makes a
he didn't make a mess because he kept it, like, I guess, inside, and he only killed people that were a part of the game. So the police are respecting this assassin's game. They're not gonna go in there. I like that because at first when the police came up, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get, like, are they gonna attempt to arrest John Wick? Are we gonna have to kill the police? And then he's like, hey, have a good night, John. Bye. Think gonna see you all day. I'm like, okay, so either he bought him off or, you know, like they're in on it too. But yeah, so it seems like they're like, you stay in your lane, we'll stay in ours.
Call for a dinner reservation for 12 and counts out
again the world building in this.
For Charlie to clean up the 12 bodies, 1 coin per body, like game tokens per life taken. Charlie is played by David Patrick Kelly.
At first, Loki, I thought he was actually just about to go out to dinner with 12 people.
Who had the famous line in the 1979 film The Warriors. So when Vigo visits Marcus, Marcus is making carrot juice. Carrots rich in vitamin A, good for eyesight for a sharpshooter like Marcus.
He's taking care of himself.
Contract, but notice how Marcus never says yes explicitly, only
consider it done.
A sly way of saying, this will be over soon for you. Marcus assembles his weaponry set to Marilyn Manson's killing.
I was worried about Marcus. I'm like, no, he can't come after us. I think it's because, like, Willem Dafoe, like, he plays such a good villain that when I see him, I'm like, oh God, he's gonna kill us. But he was awesome in this.
Strangers, we're killing strangers.
And he made you worry the whole time. Maybe when you saw it, you're like, no, he has our back. But I feel like a lot of people didn't know. Up until he shot right next to John Wick's head. And I'm like, that was a warning shot. He's on our side.
Strangers, so we don't kill the ones that we love. Marcus in this movie snipes Vigo's men so that he doesn't have to kill his friend John. And we arrive at the Continental Hotel, which in real life is the Beaver Building in Manhattan's financial district.
Beaver.
John is greeted by Charon, played by Lance Reddick. Now in Greek mythology, Charon is the ferryman of the river Styx in the underworld, whom you must pay for safe passage, just as John must pay the concierge for safe haven as he transitions into this underworld. John finds the door to the secret club.
There's so much symbolism in this. I honestly can't get over how much care they took with this movie.
Access with another coin, like an arcade token. And inside, the lighting is all red and green. Red specifically framed with Winston.
Isn't he a pirate? He a pirate in something else? He looks like a pirate.
Of this underworld. He's always shown in red here, for he is kind of the traffic cop, the stoplight. Whereas John is framed in green in their conversation.
Oh, and he's all go, go, go.
This kind of represents the traffic intersection for the underworld, a heavily regulated stop and go safe zone. But Vigo, we find out, is breaking those rules by doubling the bounty for any assassin who will kill John in the hotel.
Breaking the rules.
The rules of Continental, double the bounty.
So we learned that John's purpose isn't just revenge.
Didn't he put out the hit to everyone else for $200,000, and then he offered Marcus a separate amount?
Honor to the game after craven game rigging crept in his absence. This is why Winston allows Abby the bartender to tell John that Vigo hid Yosef at the Red Circle, because Winston wants John to restore meaning to his rules. Now the name of this club, the Red Circle, is an homage to Le Cercle Rouge, a 1970 French crime noir that was a major influence on this film. John sticks up Francis the bouncer, played by Kevin Nash. And John lets him take the night off. 60 pounds
love that.
lost. Now, in Francis's Russian, he actually said 20 kilograms, which is about 44 pounds, but Nash confirmed in an interview that by saying 60 pounds, he was signaling to John that there were 60 guards inside, and that is why John spared
60 guards? You're telling me John Wick took out 60 guards in this club scene? Oh my gosh, I knew he was like dropping bodies left and right, but 60?
You couldn't lose that much weight. And that was actually me telling him how many people were in there.
That's so cool. Francis.
The amount of guys that John actually does kill inside. Now the bathhouse is bathed in blue and red light, and I love the lateral shot as John slays the guy.
The song choice is so perfect, and it fits John. The when you look at him, he has like this calm face, even though he's just going in there dropping bodies. The song is calm, but everything going around is just chaos because he's killing people. Like
against the misted window, and then stabs this bald guy.
As he's stabbing this man and staring and watching the light leave his eyes, the song says, oh my gosh, it's just so perfect for what's happening.
Up through the chin, looking him in the eye as they both descend. And at the lowest level, John's face goes from blue to blood red in the light. Now, John nearly has a clean shot at Yosef, but Yosef has a woman with him in that hot tub. Another important rule, only players in the game can be killed. Now, you could argue that Yosef's company and the attendees of this Russian-owned club are all part of the game, but John never crosses that line. Only Yosef.
He does kill that big muscly man in a Speedo. I don't know if he was a guard or, I mean, he wasn't dressed like a guard, but maybe he was a guard undercover, under only a little bit of cover. But he does kill the dude in the Speedo. Maybe he knew the dude in the Speedo and he knew he was in the game.
Does a bit later when he uses this poor woman as the human shield. So John now switches to a Heckler & Koch P30L. And if you count all the shots in the scene, he always reloads after 15 rounds to adhere to its magazine capacity. On the dance floor, he actually fires to the beat of the dubstep music. So that only...
I know, it's so good. And it's like, did he... I bet he's gonna say this right now, but it's like, did he do that so the shots wouldn't be heard as loud?
The people in the immediate vicinity freak out, but the other dancers don't panic because panic would lead to more crossfire and potential collateral damage.
Oh my gosh, that's why they don't panic. They're just letting it happen. Because when I was watching that, I even said that. I'm like, all right, the people around noticed it, but they just kept dancing. Oh my gosh, this life is crazy that they're just like, oh, someone's just taking care of business. I just got to get my dance on. It's fine.
There's a VIP room, and he only shoots the guys in the red shirts, Star Trek red shirts, and he spares everyone else. Now, if you had counted, he had fired 7 shots on the dance floor, and he fires 8 shots in this room. That's 15. So he runs out, click, and here he just uses a pistol to jab the guy's neck, and then takes a moment to reload, and then shoots him in the head. Now, in many scenes of these movies, Keanu also tends to reload the pistol correctly by pulling the back of the slide instead of putting his hand over it to avoid catching his hand on the open ejection port. This kind of attention to detail continues to John Wick Chapter 2, where at one point...
John Wick Chapter 2, I don't want to hear about this. I guess they're just talking about the guns, and I don't really understand different types of guns.
For whatever reason, people think this press check details in the first movie, but it's not. It's in Chapter 2. And then, as John enters the balcony, he reloads again. Always reloads. The balcony lieutenant is actually played by Tate Fletcher, a stunt actor who does...
His mustache is 100% everything. You should be so proud of that. I bet he is.
The physical performance of Paz Vizsla in The Mandalorian. But John...
He plays physical Vizsla, because isn't the voice John Favreau for Vizsla? Okay, I'm not going to talk about that now. We're into John Wick.
Finally, it's a roadblock with Kirill. Keanu facing an actor who played an agent. Kirill throws John over the balcony, and it is just a painful thud. Now, this is one stunt the insurers of this movie would not allow Keanu Reeves to do, so they hid a cut in the light lens flare and the camera tilt, so the stunt actor didn't fall from the full distance. Matrix Reloaded.
That's good for the stunt actor, because that fall, like, you don't get up from that. Also, really smart for insurance not let Keanu do that, because could you imagine if he did that and then got hurt? That would set them back so long on filming. I mean, and you'd be hurt.
Maker Randall Duck Kim stitches John up.
Your stitches will tear, and you'll bleed, but you'll have full function.
I love that. Like, he knows
the final fight. Remember this.
I love that he's like, all right, I'm gonna fix you up. I know you're gonna get right back out there and do stuff, so this is the best way to do it. You do you. Love it.
So Marcus gets John in his crosshairs as he recovers, and someone pointed out the slight breeze in Marcus's hair to say that Marcus might be accounting for the wind and his bullet trajectory, which is why the bullet hits the pillow to the left. No,
absolutely not.
There is no way that slight.
Marcus did that because he wanted to warn John, not kill him.
Marcus just aimed for the pillow when he shot the pillow to warn
Marcus
his
wouldn't
friend.
miss.
The real detail here is that the framing makes it seem like Marcus has betrayed John and is racing to beat Miss Perkins to the kill into the bounty, but the reality is that Marcus is just there to protect his friend after Vigo told him the contract bounty would be open.
From that moment, I'm guessing from that moment, he was just following John around to pick off anyone close enough that he thought would get closer to John than John would before John noticed. Obviously, in the club, he didn't have to, help him in there. But with this, like, I'm gonna make sure, you know, John has a fighting chance. I love this.
Why Marcus asked if it was
I'm
a
so
close
excited
contract.
about
He was
this.
trying to figure out, are there going to be a lot of people trying to kill my friend? See, folks, that is the secret of Easter eggs. They are meant for you to enjoy the emotional subtext of a scene, not to take you out of it with some bullshit hot take someone wrote on Reddit. So as John fights Perkins, both of them weaponize cloth in the scene. All the fights are just well designed. John uses his
I love that use of material like in the scene, use of props. This is so good.
arm sling to twist the gun out of her hand and choke her. He wraps
I like that. Like, I love the use of props too. It makes the fighting so much more interesting than just fist fighting guns. Like, they use just everything around them.
around her head and punches
so
it.
good.
She uses her leather jacket as a gi to perform a Brazilian jiu-jitsu wing choke. So then John enters a Russian church and he shoots everyone with Russian tattoos on their hands, including the organist, except this one old woman. This is one attendee who's not part of the game. She's just there to actually worship. And John torches all of Vigo's normal currency in his vault. But you can see he also has quite a few assassin gold coins in there. So John is limiting Vigo's options, both in the underworld and in the real world.
Probably
Later,
melt.
Vigo says that included the leverage he had all over the city, audio recordings, physical evidence, blackmail. Because
It's
John,
your
to
son's
get out of the
fault.
game to be with Helen, he had to kill enough people to give Vigo his empire. So essentially, John is taking back everything he had given to Vigo. Later, when he has John captured, Vigo says that both of them are
wow,
trying to have a family.
I'm wicked excited for 2 now. John's rising up, so maybe that's why people are going to be coming after him. Or is John not done cleaning up the underworld and he's going to take out other people? Oh, I'm so excited for 2.
Family. John, his wife, Vigo, his son, violated the spirit of the game and left them cursed.
This life follows you, clings to you. We are cursed, you and I.
And so it's implied that there's some divine order to this world. To try to leave the game or to cheat at it, fate makes you pay some cost. Now, in the safe house, Gregory plays a shooter game, Dust 514, and his player name is Neo, and one of the players he kills
That's
is
cool!
Point Break. John snipes
Oh,
all of Yosef's
that's
bodyguards, and he
awesome!
catches up to Yosef, who tries to say, it was just a dog, before John puts him down like a dog. A metaphor I never really liked. Why would anyone ever
Yeah.
shoot a dog?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that metaphor
tortures and
either.
kills Marcus for helping John and leaves Marcus's body without calling Charlie to clean it up. That's a major rule broken, folks. He left.
Yeah, don't make a mess. Okay, yeah, Vigo had to go. He's messing everything up just like his puke little son. If they just followed the rules are there for a reason. Vigo and son Yosef.
Mess. And so even though John acquired his revenge against Yosef, he returns to the underworld to deliver justice upon Vigo because John is back in this game and he considers himself a defender of the honor of the game. That is his root myth. And we also see this game claiming Miss Perkins. Winston catches up with her at the Central Park Bethesda fountain. That's the same location where Winston will.
How crazy was she though? They sent 4 people after her. I kind of want to know more, like a little bit more about her. She's so much of a threat that they needed 4 people to go get her.
We'll meet John at the end.
Or maybe they just send like a crew of 4 to make sure nothing possible that could go wrong. I don't know. I like to think it's because she's a badass and they're like, we gotta send at least 4.
Into chapter 2.
I mean, even though we saw John take out like 60 guys.
All in one efficient shot, she is executed. Winston walks toward us. He passes a coin to Charlie, and Charlie's crew moves in. Done and done. Winston again intervenes as a game referee to help John punish Vigo for breaking the rules. He says we live by a code, which is why I'm not the one telling you that a certain helicopter, a certain helipad is being fueled for a certain someone. Now, the subtitle design of this film is really fun, but I love this shot.
I love the subtitle design of this movie. At first, I'm like, it's kind of cheesy, but it is kind of cheesy. It works with the whole movie to add. I like it.
Behind us is literally behind Vigo when he turns back to see John chasing them. Even behind the wheel, John uses impressive firearm technique. He fires up through the roof to kill the guy he backs into, and then when he leans out the window to shoot another guy, 2 shots to the chest, 1 to the head. And while charging another shooter, he makes sure to reload again. After the lawyer Avi asks for a gun repeatedly, Vigo holds off until his other guys
and he sits there and plays with them.
dead, so that Avi will run off and draw John away so that Vigo can ram John with S.
Oh my gosh, that is so smart.
And we end up in a final one-on-one fight. Vigo pulls out a knife, and John, remembering what the keymaker doctor told him back in the hotel, the stitches on his tummy gash have already opened probably.
He didn't make a new wound, he stabbed in his already fresh wound. Ugh, I want to avoid that, saying that because it's gross. But that is so smart to not cause other damage to a different part of him, just put it in the same spot. Oh my gosh!
So John allows Vigo to stick him back in that same cut so that he can break Vigo's arm and take the knife and stick Vigo in the shoulder. And so we circle back to the opening and we learn why John had to hear Ellen's voice in this moment.
Come on, John.
Let's go home.
Let's go home.
So we
He
went
needed
from,
it so he
"What
can
are
get
you
back
doing, John?"
up.
to "Let's go home." And John finds a pet clinic and finds a pit bull in a kennel that, if you look closely at the paperwork, is marked to be put down.
Yeah,
they
I
literally
saw
have a
that.
stamp for to be put down. And as
Yeah,
John
that's kinda
walks
weird.
this dog home, the color tone switches from cold blue back to warm golden. This is the same Brooklyn Bridge Park walkway along the East River that this movie's first act flashed back to John and Helen on their date. John has earned an extra life, not by scoring just his personal revenge, but by restoring the honor of the rules. And I love breaking down these rules of John Wick, and I cannot wait to see Chapter 4. Please support us by grabbing some Deep Dive merch at nerdriot.shop. You can subscribe to the Deep Dive, turn those notifications on, share this channel with everyone you know, follow me at Erik Voss. Thanks for watching, and dos vidania, my Babayegas at the deep.
If you have not subscribed to the Deep Dive, go subscribe. He has a bunch of other videos. He has one about Back to the Future that I'm definitely gonna watch after I watch the movie Back to the Future. I'm wicked excited to see that. That'll probably be after I finish with John Wick. But this was so good. I learned so much more. I'm wicked excited for John Wick 2. And it's just like, it makes you appreciate the first movie even more, even though I'm so about that movie. I haven't been this excited about a movie, I think, since Puss in Boots. And Puss in Boots is an animated movie. It's my jam. It's what I'm like used to. John Wick is not like anything I watch. I mean, maybe I need to watch more action movies like this. Are there? I just feel like I've seen other action movies and they don't take that care that they took with John Wick. And then like they're more dragged out and longer. It's like John Wick got in, told us the story that he needed to, and got out, all while making everything so realistic. Oh, just the fighting, the stunt work that he's doing it himself, like all of that. They put in so much care with the details, and it just makes these movies, it elevates the movie. So it's like, give me some recommendations of other action movies that are like John Wick, that care, that put in the small details. What kills me is when you watch a fight scene and they go like this and they're throwing their punches and they cut until the punch hits the person, or like they'll punch somebody and they'll move, like the body will move, but they'll cut the scene before they hit the ground. Why did you take out the impact of them hitting the ground? I want to see how hard this person hits the ground after they're punched in the face. I hate when action scenes do that. I want action scenes like this where they show all of it. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys leave because I'm rambling. I really like this. Thank you for watching this with me.